I've been an Apple Watch user ever since the first one came out back in 2015, which means that for the past 8 years, I've had an Apple Watch on my wrist every single day. But during these 8 years, I haven't upgraded to the newest model every single year, as sometimes the upgrades were quite small. So here are the 7 changes to expect from the 2023 Apple Watches. Okay, so the biggest change this year is rumored to be the Apple S9 chip. And the reason why this is said to be such a big upgrade is because the S8, the S7, and the S6 chips were actually all identical. They were, the same exact chip, just with a different name. They all had the same 1.8 GHz dual-core processor and 1 GB of RAM. Furthermore, they were all manufactured on the same 7nm process, which, whilst already power efficient enough, small processes like 5nm or even 3nm would have been heavily preferred on a smartwatch. Apple has been using 5nm chips since the Apple A14 chip in 2020. The same year when the Apple Watch Series 6 launched with the S6 chip, which was based on a 7nm process. We all know that the iPhone will be switching to 3nm this year, so the Apple Watch switching to 5 would make a lot of sense. Not only will this give us a lower power consumption, but also improve performance. And considering that Apple has had 3 years to work on this new Apple Watch chip, these performance improvements could be quite significant. Personally, I haven't really noticed any lag or any slowdown on my Apple Watch Series 7. So if this S9 chip is drastically more powerful, I do believe that it would likely add some new features to it. Now, the second thing about the 2023 Apple Watches would most certainly be some fresh new colors. The Series 8 lost the dark green and the blue colors, but gained the silver aluminum again, so it is very likely that a Series 9 would bring some fresh new colors to the table. Like, I'd personally love to see a space gray making a return, or maybe even a matte black. That would be awesome. Or maybe simply just the blue, as that was quite a cool color. And the Apple Watch Ultra is also likely to see at least one new color to keep things fresh, as the original only came in this standard titanium finish, whereas the Series 7, that did come in titanium as well, featured 2 finishes, the light version and also the darker space black titanium version. And these are the 2 main hardware changes to expect: the new chip that would offer extra performance and battery life improvements, and then some new colors, with Mark Gurman even saying that there wouldn't be any major hardware changes to the Apple Watch this year aside from that new chip. Speaking of the battery life, as you probably know already, to take advantage of the Apple Watch's fast charging capabilities, not only do you need to use the built-in cable, but you also need to use a fast charger. These 2 chargers are my recommended options, either the 20W Anker Nano or the 40W Anker Nano Pro that comes with 2 USB-C ports. We have affiliate links down below in the description if you're interested in getting any of these and supporting the channel. Now, back to what Mark Gurman said, which is that the Series 9 would not feature any major changes aside from that new chip. This does make a lot of sense, as number 1, September will also be when the iPhone 15 launches, which would be the first new iPhone redesign since the iPhone 12, or at least in terms of the frame. So Apple would likely spend a lot of the time at the event talking about the iPhone 15 and of course, all the changes on the regular model and that periscope module. So yeah, there's a lot of new stuff that the iPhone 15s will come with, and that will take up a lot of the event time. And 2, watchOS is said to be the biggest Apple Watch software update yet, since the very first Apple Watch came out in 2015, so the majority of the new features and changes would actually come with watchOS rather than with the new Apple Watch hardware changes. Okay, so what sort of OS changes can we expect to see here? Well, the biggest one in watchOS 10 is said to be a redesigned home screen. By redesigned home screen, I mean a redesigned app library page. Currently, you only have 2 layouts, the standard one, which is this grid view, and then the list view. And personally, I'm not really a fan of either of them. The grid view is fine as long as you make sure to always organize your apps, while the list view organizes itself, but it just takes forever to find the app that you need, especially if you don't know the name of it and only the icon. Well, according to leaker Anonymous AS on Twitter, this is how the new home screen would look like. It will display the apps in a 3x3 grid, essentially combining the 2 views into one, and making it far easier for you to find the apps that you're looking for. On top of this, apparently you would also be able to create folders and put whatever 3 apps you want inside of those folders. It's not really clear how you'd be able to open these folders, or if they will simply stay open and work kind of like a selection of 3 apps rather than them being, traditional folders. Regardless, I think this will be a major upgrade in us quickly finding the apps that we're looking for, and I do prefer this home screen over the current two methods. Speaking of those methods, AnonymousAS also said that he is unsure if this new home screen would replace both of the other methods or if it will simply appear as a third option. Now, of course, since watchOS 10 is said to be the biggest update since the Apple Watch came out, the changes are likely going to be more than simply just a new home screen. Now, we don't really know what those changes would be, but I would definitely expect a fully redesigned UI that looks more modern, and hopefully one that also makes it easier to navigate the workouts app, for example, which right now is really confusing, with workouts views being buried 5 levels down into the menu. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Apple releases a new band for at least the regular Apple Watch model. Last time they did this was with the Apple Watch Series 6 when they launched the Solo Loop and the braided Solo Loop bands. And if you guys remember, the Series 6 was also a very minor upgrade from the Series 5, with it featuring the same design for the 3rd year in a row and only getting a processor bump alongside an oxygen level meter. The Series 9 would also have the same design for 3 years in a row and also only a processor bump as the change. So it is extremely likely that Apple would introduce a new type of band just to keep things fresh. These are the 5 things to expect with the Apple Watch Series 9. However, there have been more recent rumors regarding some of the features that future models of the Apple Watch would come with. For example, Bloomberg reports that starting from 2024, Apple will start making custom displays for the Apple Watch and the iPhone. Apparently, this huge shift would begin with the Apple Watch Ultra, with Apple adopting their own micro LED display to it. Bloomberg is even saying that this display would still be manufactured by a third party, but fully designed by Apple in-house. Also, micro LED should not be confused with mini LED, which is what Apple's using in their MacBook Pros. Mini LED is simply an LCD panel with a larger number of local dimming zones, whereas micro LED is the next step on from OLED, where tiny LEDs are used for the pixels, and these LEDs can get crazy bright. I'm talking up to 1 million nits of brightness, and even higher than that on pre-production units. Including such a display in the next big update of the Apple Watch Ultra will make a lot of sense, as micro LED displays are very, very expensive. So by Apple giving it to their smallest device, and also the most premium version of that smallest device, will make it far more affordable for Apple. Of course, don't expect 1 million nits of brightness on the Apple Watch Ultra, but something like 4,000 nits or higher, so at least double the brightness of what we have now, is likely going to be the case, making it far more visible outdoors. On top of this, there are also rumors of Apple increasing the display size on the Apple Watch Ultra from 1.92 inches to 2.1. Now, this would be a significant change. The 45mm Apple Watch has a 1.77-inch display, and the 49mm Apple Watch Ultra has a 1.92-inch display, meaning that an Apple Watch Ultra with a 2.1-inch display would sit in at around 53mm, and have a similar size difference as the one between the 45mm Apple Watch and the 49mm Apple Watch Ultra. In fact, we've noticed that every Apple Watch case is every 4mm. The smallest model is 41, then we have the 45, and then the 49mm Apple Watch Ultra. So 53 not only makes a lot of sense, but a size like that would also allow for a 2.1-inch display. And we also have an update on the glucose monitoring sensor, something that Apple has been working on for a good number of years. Unfortunately, Mark Gurman claims that despite Apple making some major progress with its non-invasive blood glucose monitoring technology, the system is still not ready yet, as Apple still has a lot of work to do when it comes to improving their algorithms and also shrinking down the size of that sensor to make it, fit inside an Apple Watch. According to Mark, this technology is still between 3 to 7 years away. So yeah, don't expect this to happen anytime soon. So if you're on the fence about getting an Apple Watch, honestly you shouldn't, as the improvements this year would mostly be software related. So feel free to just go and grab a Series 7, as this is by far the best value in an Apple Watch. You can actually find some great deals by tapping on the YouTube shoppable cards down below. I'm Daniel, it's been ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.